to another episode of the End of an Era podcast. I'm your host, Elise Fox, and I'm so excited to be here today. We haven't chatted in such a long time. We took a very unexpected but very much needed hiatus. I haven't released an episode since August, and this episode will be dropping October 3rd. So I just want to say it's really exciting to, one, not only hear that I've been missed, like honestly, I told you guys before, I don't really check the analytics of this podcast. This is something that I'm doing just for fun and just as another way to express myself and also connect with you all and get to know you all and really understand my community in a different way. So I'm excited to know, like, I was missed, but also very excited to be back chatting with you all. And I have a couple of new things to introduce, but I'm excited to just like lock in and chat with you today. So summer was very meh this year. Like, this summer didn't really give me much, and I'm not too mad at it, to be quite honest. I feel like 2025 as a whole feels like a filler year. Like, you remember TV shows like back in the early 2000s when TV sitcoms had 30, 40 episodes a season? They would have these filler episodes that were like best of funny moments or the most shocking moments, or like they'll just have like these little compilation episodes that were legit filler episodes. They didn't add anything to the plot or the storyline. They just kind of like moved the show forward. And I feel like 2025 is moving the show forward, but I don't know if I want to be a part of this cast anymore. Not like that, but like, yeah, I think you get me. But yeah, 2025 summer, definitely a filler year. And you know it's a filler summer. You know it's an interesting summer when there's no summer song. Like, I don't know what the summer song was for 2025, but I feel like we didn't have one, and that is very telling, and I don't know if I subscribe to that at all. I enjoyed my summer. It was very practical. I stayed pretty local, aside from, I went to visit my brother in Pennsylvania. I went to Jamaica. Like, aside from those like mini trips, I really stayed home. Like, we did a lot of things locally. We experienced the city that we live in. And I always say this too. I'm like, I live so close to Manhattan. I live close enough to Manhattan to get to it. And I live in a place where this city was created. This city was built for entertainment. This city was built for people to stay and to spend money and to be engaged and to have fun. I can stay here and have fun and engage in the city. So I did that all summer long, and it was so much fun. Like, I didn't feel a lot of the stressors that I usually feel, and not just me having to do something, but also with trends and like what I'm buying and like what swimsuits I want, what styles I should be wearing, what sandals I should be wearing, all these things. I didn't really subscribe to a lot of it. I typically don't, but this year I blocked out the noise, and I also didn't subscribe to it. So it made for a very nice, easy, practical filler summer that I think we all maybe needed. New York Fashion Week just ended about a week ago, and I must say, I love fashion. I love it as a consumer. I love it as someone who enjoys art. I love it as a freedom of speech or a way to communicate. But I'm not like in the fashion world per se. Like, obviously I'm like in that wellness niche, but I do get invited out to fashion events, and typically I will go to so many Fashion Week events just to be out, like just to kind of be out, be able to socialize. I know I'm going to be able to see a lot of friends in one space, and that is always fun, but I always end up at the end of Fashion Week drained. And it makes no sense for me to be drained after Fashion Week because I don't work in fashion. Like, why am I drained? Why am I stressed? Why am I going through this? But this year I did it a bit differently. Like, I got invited to a lot of events, but I was super, super intentional and strategic with the events that I did attend. There is a way to make Fashion Week work for you, even if you don't work in fashion, because you got to think about it. Wherever there's money moving around, wherever there's big energy, there's going to be people coming into the city just to experience that energy. So you'll have people from all different walks of life coming into New York City just to experience New York Fashion Week. And there might be people who align with something that you want to do, a project that you might need support with, or just like a new friend that you may need in that time. For this particular Fashion Week, I only attended about 5 events, and I made sure those events would be perfect for me. So I went to a film screening at the Tribeca Film Festival, and it was with Willie Chavara. He did a film, I have to get the director's name, but they did a film on the effects of ice and how that affects our food supply. Willie Chavara is a designer from California, and it was a very powerful film. So I needed to be moved and inspired. But I feel like everything that I chose to do was to, one, network with friends, but two, expand my network as well. I really do want to tap into the fashion industry as it relates to mental health. So the best way for me to do that is to be in the rooms, to be experiencing people, to have conversations, to like show off my version of fashion, to show off how I express myself in these rooms, because it's all important. Sometimes you might question your own style as if, is this going to fit in? Is this the right look? Is this the right color? Whatever. But whatever you wear is a part of the ecosystem of Fashion Week. So you can literally wear a bag. Like, I'm so serious. You can literally wear a bag on your head and you'll be on brand for Fashion Week. Don't get too caught up in what you're wearing. Just be more caught up in what the intention is as to why you're there, why you're in the room, and who you want to talk to. If you're someone who throws parties or hosts events and you're sending out invite blasts and it requires an RSVP for you to get the address, like, my RSVP is dependent on that address. It's so annoying. It's a little frustrating. I get you don't want everyone to just pull up at your party, or if it's a free event, you don't want people just randomly showing up, but at least put the zip code, because if I get a party invite and it says address received after confirmation, like, I'm probably not gonna do it. It's just too many extra steps for me. But yeah, my attendance is dependent on that address. So I would put something in the description as to where it's going to be, which borough at least it's going to be in. Thank you. As we move into fall, which is my favorite season of all time, I really was thinking about what my goals are. Like, every quarter I have this, I feel like we all do. We have these moments of reflection. I haven't been too hard on myself this year, just understanding what I'm up against as far as fundraising under this current administration and everything else that falls under that. Like, that it's causing a ripple effect in everybody's lives. So I have to be really honest and not hold myself to an unrealistic standard. Anyway, so I was thinking about fall, what my goals are, and what I wanted to do. And I was also looking at my son. He started school. He's in the first grade now. It's really exciting because he's completely out of this babying phase. I feel like pre-K and kindergarten, it still gives baby, but first grade gives, like, you're in school, like big backpack, no games, you're in school. But what was interesting about when Basil started school, he was kind of dreading it a couple weeks leading up to school. And what I do is 2 weeks before school starts, I start cutting his bedtime like 30 minutes shorter. So if he was going to bed in the summertime around like 9:30, I would start cutting it to 9 o'clock. And then a couple of days after, I would cut it to 8:30, and a couple of days after, maybe like 8:15, and then so on and so forth. So it's not an abrupt change when he is going back to school. But what I did realize when he did go back to school, Basil knows to come in the house, wash his hands, get a snack, pull out his homework folder, and he just is in it. He's in it. And whenever I try to waver that routine, if I'm like, hey, Basil, let's just go outside and go for a walk after school, he's like, no, I got to go home and wash my hands and pull out my homework folder and do my homework, and then we can go for a walk. And I got to respect it, because he knows his flow, he knows his routine, and he is absolutely locked in. So I was thinking about how I can be more routine within myself and how I can lock in on my own personal goals. And these aren't goals that are like massive, like I want to raise $10 million by 2030. Like, these aren't those type of goals. They're just personal goals that I want to achieve within myself. They could be business oriented, but they don't necessarily have to be. But I wanted to create some kind of system for myself so that routine is just instinctual, and I know to come in and just lock in the same way Basil comes in and just locks in on his homework and everything else he has to do. So I created a syllabus for my life, and I want to share what I've done and how it's been working and how you can do it too. I broke it down into 4 easy steps, and we're going to jump in right now. So within this life syllabus, the first thing that I thought about was, what do I want to study? Just like college, you have to pick a major. What do you want to study? What you want to study doesn't have to be something academic. It doesn't have to be something that's business oriented or career oriented. It could be something as simple as, I want to be the best dinner host. I want to learn how to ollie on a skateboard. I want to build my own site. I want to code my own site. Like, whatever it is, that can just be your study, like your area of interest, your study area. For me, my area of interest is growing my podcast team. So I have really big visions for the podcast. And while we were on break, I was just thinking about where I want to take this and how I want to amplify it. But I can't do it by myself. And I know I have to start slowly but surely building up my team. So if you're an editor, if you're a producer, if you're someone who is interested, like, I'm going to put a link in this description box Yeah, I'll put a link in the description and you can like fill out this form. But anyway, my goal is to like expand this podcast and build out a team. And I know there are so many different facets around what that looks like. So I'm breaking it down into easy steps so I can make sure I follow along and you can do it too. So while reminiscing about my first semester in college, I studied at Long Island University in Brooklyn. And my first semester, I literally had classes from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to like 4 p.m. I was in class and I was absolutely miserable. I don't know why I created that schedule for myself. And it was really dumb because my senior year of high school, I think I got out of school around 12, maybe 12:30. And I was in school from 8 to 12:30 every single day. Why would I choose a schedule that literally doubles the time that I'm in classes? I have no idea, but it didn't work for me. So think about within your schedule, within this syllabus, what days you would like to study. My second semester, I discovered the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. That was cute, but I wanted more of a weekend. And when I transferred to Buff State, I had a Tuesday, Thursday schedule every semester, Tuesday, Thursday. It brought me a lot of balance, but it also brought me a lot of trouble because I was able to be outside a lot more. But within that free time, I was able to maximize my college experience because I was really yearning to have another gap year. But because I had that Tuesday, Thursday schedule, I was nuts, yo. So I would go to class Tuesday, Thursday. On Thursday afternoon, I would have a megabus ticket. I would take the megabus down to New York City, go back home. I would be back home from Thursday through Monday afternoon. I would take the megabus back to Buffalo, and then I would do classes Tuesday through Thursday. I would do my homework on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then on the bus ride, I would do my homework on Thursdays. It was absolutely nuts. I was traveling probably 20 hours every single weekend. But during that time, I maximized my days because I was hosting parties. Like we would throw the coolest parties, the coolest warehouse parties in Bushwick. And it was a way for me to build my social life up while I was away in one of the saddest cities studying and getting my education. So I had that duality where I was able to like really maximize my time and do something that was incredibly interested in. Like I loved hosting parties. I loved being in the scene. I loved like kind of studying the fashion of people and also studying the sociology of people. But I also had the opportunity to also have the academic support as well. And that was a schedule in a life that I truly, truly do not regret. All right, moving on. Now we have our area of interest, our area of study, and we also have which days we would like to study. So the third step is figuring out what you want to fill your schedule with. If you're anything like me, you have a bunch of recipes bookmarked on TikTok or Instagram, art projects to try, DIY, home projects to try, restaurants, different classes, like all types of things. You just have bookmarked. And when are you going to actually do them? That's where I come in. Okay. So these will be your electives. You have to balance your electives versus your core classes. And that's up to you, sister. Like whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But have electives that are going to move the needle towards whatever that goal is. So for me, as I said, I want to build out my podcast team. How can I move the needle through electives to build this out? Maybe I can go online and see if there are any events in media. I get invited to media events pretty often, so I can be very strategic as to which ones I go to and who I'm trying to find or the type of people that I want to find at each gathering. So I can do something like that. Or I can take a class on podcasting. Like there are so many workshops and classes and studies that you can do even on YouTube about the world of podcasting and also the future of podcasting. So when I am looking for talent, when I'm sourcing talent, I am looking for these qualifications, these skill sets that I may not have known existed before I did my back end research on podcasting and the future of podcasting. These electives will be fun, but they should also move the needle towards what your goal is and where you want to be. And if you can imagine, third step will be filling your schedule, filling your syllabus with core classes. And your core classes are similar to electives, but they should be a lot more challenging than electives. Electives are kind of the fun, hands-on kind of things that you do, but the core classes should give you the knowledge, and this is where you do the back-end research to make sure you are standing on business with whatever you're doing. So for me, as I stated many of times, I'm looking to build a podcast team. So my core classes might involve me actually producing a podcast for someone else or helping or shadowing someone who is producing a podcast so I can understand all the intricacies of outreach to guests? If an episode gets lost, what do you do? Like all of those things, I need to like know the back end of it just to make myself a better and stronger leader when I do have this team. There are also classes that are free from Harvard right now, and they're all online, and you can get accreditation if you pay a little bit of money. I think it's like $150 to get accredited in certain courses that you can take. They have all types of courses, whether it's religion, AI knowledge. They have so many different offerings. This might be a really good skill set to tap into, but this builds your curriculum for you, because some classes are more structured where you take them once a week, but others are pretty free where you just have to submit homework and your responses by a certain date or time. So I would say look into this as another form of your core classes. But other core classes can also include working out. The second you center physical health, or the second you prioritize physical health, a lot of things become smoother and easier in life. So I say workout, but I do say workout in the morning or on a schedule that you necessarily don't operate in. Waking up early is always a struggle for me, but it's something I always have to do since I am a mom. But being productive in the morning is not my strongest suit. So when I wake up in the morning and I'm doing a Pilates workout in my living room, that just shifts my entire routine, and it shifts my hormones and everything else to say, like, we're up for the day. I don't care if it's 8 a.m. We're up. So what are we doing? And I'm getting a 3-hour head start on work that I would have, prioritized for after my day-to-day emails and my day-to-day work. So challenge yourself in a way that feels a little bit uncomfortable, but it creates a better routine for you to actually accomplish these goals that you're spending so much time curating and making nice in your syllabus. The fourth step, you can add extra steps if you need more support, but my fourth and last step is to write out my syllabus. I have to physically write it out to make it real and then post it somewhere that you can see it. This can be on your phone's wallpaper, on your refrigerator, your bathroom. I literally don't care where you post it, but just make sure you can see it and you can follow it and you're actually doing it. And this for me, I'm also a calendar invite girl. So I'll send myself calendar invites for time blocks that I want to work on this syllabus or do things within my syllabus. And you can make your syllabus really cute. I've actually created a template for you. You can download. It's right in the link of this description. Literally, all you have to do is plug and play, create your own syllabus, create your own guide. It looks a little bit like this. And get into it. And let me know if you are going to try this. Like, I'm starting now. It is September. But if you want to start like November 1, October 15th, whatever date works for you, works for me. But keep me posted on how this works for you and share any tips that you've learned along the way. Okay, so we're back and we're launching a new segment. It's honestly something that I wanted to do when I launched my column with Teen Vogue. I wanted my column to be a Q&A, advice, relationship advice, life advice column, but for obvious protection reasons, we couldn't do that on that platform. But I'm even more excited to do it on my own platform because now y'all can hear my voice and my intensity and my care and my love for y'all. And I want to hear you guys' stories. So there's a form linked in my bio on Instagram, also linked in the description here. You can send in any issues that you're going through. You can send in any qualms. It can be short, it can be long. But yeah, write in. I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability. I'm also not a licensed mental health professional, so please don't take anything as administrative. Don't take anything as medicinal. This is just advice from a girl with a microphone. Okay, to kick off our Q&A segment. Hi, love. Absolutely love your pod and vibe. I would love advice on dealing with insecurities and lingering doubts from a past relationship. A year ago, I got out of a very toxic relationship with someone who was very disrespectful to me, yelled at me privately and publicly, cheated on me early in our relationship, and brought out an anxious attachment style out of me. Honestly, I don't think he secretly liked me at all. Ha 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 ha. See, after a year of being single and focusing on myself and healing, I met someone who is the complete opposite, who is very communicative, enthusiastic about being with me, is so kind and caring, and is amazing at making plans and following through. Despite having no reason to worry, I find myself having whispers of worry from my previous relationship, even though I know it's not because of anything my current partner is doing. What is your advice on coping with those things? Ooh, Chicago, this is real. This is real. I could definitely relate, and thank you for trusting me with this information. I would say, one, this is all still fresh for you. You just got out of this relationship, this abusive relationship, it seems like. a year ago. Like, that is still very fresh. If you just had a baby, you will still be in postpartum. You know what I mean? So like, this is still a very fresh, the emotions are very fresh. A year might seem like a long time because of how the news works and how like our feeds and everything work, but a year is pretty fresh. So give yourself some space and some grace there. And honestly, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary to feel similar feelings when you're in a new situation, especially if this is the first relationship out of that previous one that didn't go so well. So my advice would be, in my experience, from when I interact with someone, when I bring someone into my circle, I think of every situation as a lesson. Whether I've known you for 5 days, or I've known you for 5 months, or I've known you for 10 years, like, this experience is a lesson for me. So take the lesson from that previous relationship and just take the lesson. Leave all that other stuff behind as much as you can. Leave it all behind, because you can't bring it into your new situation. And then within your new situation, look at the actions. Look at his actions. You said he follows through on plans. He's communicative. He's enthusiastic about being with you. Those are actions that you can see. And I'm sure those actions bring out emotions that you can feel, and they feel really nice. What you don't want to do is bring the fog of your previous relationship into this one. But you could also communicate with him too and say, hey, this is my previous situation, which I'm sure you probably already have. But when those feelings do come up, communicate with him like, I know this has nothing to do with you, and I know I'm bugging, but XYZ, this is how I'm feeling. XYZ, blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever you have to do. But I think you being communicative with him as well will help him understand you. If you may be pushing back a little bit, you may be falling back, you may not be responding or as responsive as he is to you, and you may not know it, but you communicating with him throughout this entire process of you healing from your previous relationship, I think is the best way to move forward. And also, give yourself some grace and give him time to mess up. No, I'm just kidding. Give the new relationship time to blossom into what it's going to be without the funk or the stank of your previous relationship. So as much as you need to, like, communicate with him when you are feeling feelings of distress or uneasiness or confusion, just communicate that with him in the best way possible, and just, make sure that your ideas and your thoughts are clear. Like, I really like you, but this is what I'm feeling, or this was reminiscent of my previous relationship, and this is how I would usually cope with it. I think having open conversations and open dialogue is the best way to have understanding on both sides. But let me know what you guys think. If you have any other advice for Chicago, drop it in the comments. And thank you so much for writing in. If you want to be a part of our Q&A series, you can drop your stories, your questions, anything you need help with into our forum, and I'm going to get at you during a future episode. We've come to an end of the End of an Era podcast. Thank you so much for tapping in. I'm your host, Elise Fox. Follow me on Instagram at Elise Fox. You can follow the podcast at theendofanera.pod. I'll be submitting questions, all types of funny stuff on there. You want to be following the podcast. You want to see what's going on behind the scenes too. So give us a follow. Thank you for listening. And this is The End of an Era. Bye.